You are an heir to the unlimited bank of God, and this truth must settle into your bones like fire, like certainty, like a decree that cannot be undone. You were not placed in this world as a seeker of scraps, nor as a traveler wandering through shadows of chance. You were born from the infinite, woven from divine intention, stamped with the signature of Source itself. The bank of God is not a place you visit. It is a realm you belong to. It is not a treasury you must earn access to. It is an inheritance already written in your spiritual DNA. Say aloud with unwavering conviction, I am heir to the infinite abundance of the divine. Do not whisper it. Declare it as one who remembers the truth of who they are. For generations, humanity has walked under the illusion of separation, believing that supply is limited, opportunity is rare, and blessing is conditional. But you are called now to awaken from that dream. The moment you rise into your rightful identity, the moment you stop approaching life with hands trembling, the moment you cease begging for what is already yours, the infinite opens before you. The vaults of spiritual substance respond to identity, not desperation. They respond to alignment, not anxiety. They respond to the consciousness that knows its inheritance and refuses to negotiate with anything less. Say aloud, I inherit by divine right what no man can earn and no circumstance can block. For divine law is impartial, immovable, and exact, and it recognizes you not by your earthly status but by your spiritual lineage. You belong to the realm where wealth is not measured in dollars but in substance, pure spiritual essence waiting to materialize in whatever form your faith demands. This is why lack dissolves the moment identity rises. This is why doors swing open the moment you remember the truth. You are not trying to convince the universe. You are awakening to the reality already assigned to you. Walk as an heir, and the world must adjust. Think as an heir, and supply reorganizes itself around you. Speak as an heir, and circumstances bend in obedience. When you declare abundance with the authority of one who owns it, not one who pleads for it, every force of divine order aligns to fulfill your word. The infinite has no shortage, the divine has no limit. The bank of God cannot be depleted, cannot be threatened, cannot be closed. It is eternal, overflowing, and fully accessible to the consciousness aligned with truth. Say aloud, I claim my divine inheritance now. I withdraw from unlimited spiritual supply with the authority of an heir. Every affirmation is a withdrawal slip. Every declaration is a transaction. Every expectation is a claim stamped and approved in the invisible. You are not waiting for heaven to agree with you. Heaven already has. You are learning to agree with heaven. Let the world speak of recessions if it must. You walk in a kingdom where no recession exists. Let others fear closed doors if they choose. You carry keys that open what no man can shut. You live not by the conditions of the outer world, but by the laws of the inner realm where your inheritance is secured, sealed, and eternal. Stand in this truth until it vibrates through every cell of your being. I am heir to divine abundance, and nothing can separate me from my supply. This is not hope. This is not optimism. This is spiritual identity. And when identity rises, the universe obeys. For the bank of God is unlimited, and you, beloved soul, are its rightful heir. Your words are the withdrawal slips of heaven, and this truth must strike your spirit like a divine alarm. Every syllable you release carries weight, carries substance, carries creative authority stamped by the infinite. In the unseen realm, your words are not mere vibrations in the air. They are commands, decrees, and spiritual documents that move the invisible into the visible. Say aloud with unwavering force, my words pull miracles out of the unseen. For heaven does not respond to fear, nor to hesitation, nor to silent longing. Heaven responds to the voice of the one who knows their power, who understands that speech is the bridge between the realm of substance and the realm of form. You are not speaking to impress the world. You are speaking to activate divine law. You are not speaking to convince people. You are speaking to summon spiritual supply. When you speak with authority, heaven recognizes your signature. When you speak with faith, the universe aligns instantly. When you speak with conviction, the doors that seemed sealed begin to unlock. Every spoken declaration is a spiritual transaction. Every affirmation is a stamped and approved request from the bank of God. Every bold proclamation is a signal sent into the infinite that you are ready to receive what already belongs to you. Say aloud, what I decree manifests, what I affirm takes form, what I authorize appears. And do not speak as a beggar, speak as a commander of divine substance. Speak as one who has access to the vaults of unlimited abundance. Speak as one whose voice carries the authority of identity, inheritance, and divine alignment. For the universe is governed by law, and law responds to language. Your words shape your path, carve your reality, and determine the flow of supply. Do not allow your tongue to speak against your destiny. Do not issue spiritual checks made out to fear, doubt, or defeat. Heaven will honor every slip you submit, whether it brings abundance or lack. You do not receive what you desire, you receive what you speak. Your life is the echo of your declarations. Your current reality is a ledger of your past withdrawals, some conscious, some unconscious. But now you awaken, now you rise. Now you speak with intention, precision, and divine boldness. Say aloud with fire, I speak increase. I speak provision. I speak open doors. I speak divine favor. And watch as the invisible rushes to fulfill your decree. For when your words are aligned with truth, they become unstoppable. When your speech resonates with certainty, mountains shift. When your declarations rise from the identity of an heir, not a stranger, heaven must respond. You are not requesting, you are commanding according to divine law. Guard your tongue, for it is the pen that writes your spiritual contracts. Guard your declarations, for they activate the forces assigned to your life. Guard your speech, for it determines the size of your inheritance and the speed of your manifestation. Speak like one who understands that every phrase is currency. Speak like one who knows that heaven counts your words as instructions. Speak like one who refuses to authorize lack ever again. Say aloud, my voice is a divine instrument. My words are containers of power. My speech releases miracles. And let this truth echo through your consciousness until doubt collapses and faith becomes your atmosphere. For the moment you understand the authority of your voice, you become unstoppable. You claim with ease. You receive with certainty. You manifest with precision. You withdraw from the unlimited bank of God simply by speaking what is yours. Your words are not empty. They are not casual. They are not optional. They are the very mechanism through which the invisible becomes reality. And when you speak with the authority of truth, heaven must move. For your words are the withdrawal slips of heaven, signed, sealed, and fulfilled the moment you dare to declare. Identity determines access to divine supply, and this truth must rise within you like a trumpet sounding across the unseen realms. Nothing in your life moves until identity moves. Nothing in your world expands until identity expands. Nothing in your hands multiplies until identity aligns with divine lineage. For the universe does not respond to who you pretend to be, nor to who the world has told you that you are. It responds to who you know yourself to be in spirit. Say aloud with unwavering force, my identity is divine, and divine supply obeys me. You cannot walk as a pauper in consciousness and expect the inheritance of a king. You cannot think as a victim and expect the rewards of a conqueror. You cannot speak as one abandoned and expect the provision of one beloved. Supply is always present, flowing, expanding, vibrating, but it is identity that opens or closes the gates. When you identify with limitation, your world constricts. When you identify with fear, your supply dries. When you identify with the old self, the old patterns repeat like a sentence spoken over your destiny. But when you rise into spiritual identity, when you remember your origin in the infinite, when you claim the truth that you are not a creature of circumstance, but a creation of divine mind, the rivers of supply surge toward you in unstoppable abundance. Say aloud, I am not defined by my past. I am defined by the divine. For identity is not shaped by experience. Identity shapes experience. The world does not tell you who you are. You tell the world who you are by the frequency you embody. You shift identity, and the entire universe recalibrates itself to match you. What you call manifestation is merely identity taking form. What you call miracles are simply divine supply responding to truth remembered. You must claim the identity that matches the life you desire, not tomorrow. Not when things look better. Not when conditions improve. Now. For the spiritual world will not deliver what you are unwilling to embody. You cannot receive as royalty while identifying as unworthy. You cannot command abundance while believing yourself small. You cannot walk in divine provision while clinging to human limitation. Release the false self. Release the inherited labels. Release every fragment of identity built from fear, error, or memory. Say aloud, I return to my true identity, powerful, divine, and supplied. Do not ask the world who you are. Do not consult circumstances for validation. Do not wait for people to confirm what heaven has already established. Stand in identity like a pillar of fire. Speak from identity like a sovereign commanding their realm. Move from identity like one who remembers their origin in infinite power. For when you know who you are, every form of supply begins moving toward you with divine precision. Opportunities see you, resources recognize you, favor locates you, doors respond to you. The world itself rearranges as though it has been waiting for you to wake up. Say aloud with power, as my identity rises, my supply rises. As my consciousness expands, my abundance expands. This is not wishful thinking, this is divine law. The level of your supply will never exceed the level of your self-perception, and so heaven waits, not on your effort, but on your recognition. Everything you desire is already prepared, everything you need is already assigned, everything you seek is already yours in the invisible. Your identity is the key that unlocks the vault. Walk as the one who owns divine favor, speak as the one who commands divine substance, choose as the one who knows they are backed by eternal supply. For when identity ascends, lack cannot follow. When identity shifts, everything shifts. And when you declare with absolute certainty, I am divine, and divine supply obeys me, the universe bows in recognition. Because identity determines access, and you have remembered who you truly are. Vibrational alignment unlocks spiritual wealth, and this truth must thunder through your consciousness like a divine summons. Nothing in your external world can rise above the frequency you hold within. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are aligned with. Heaven does not respond to noise, it responds to vibration. Divine supply does not flow to confusion, it flows to coherence. Spiritual wealth does not descend to the scattered mind, it descends to the soul tuned to the frequency of abundance. Say aloud with authority, I rise to the vibration that calls my wealth forth. You must understand this with prophetic clarity. The universe is not moved by your longing, your wishing, your pleading, or your emotional storms. It is moved by your frequency, by the signal you emit, by the spiritual tone of your being. Every thought is a tuning fork. Every feeling is an energetic command. Every belief is a vibration that calls its own kind back to you. When you dwell in lack, you vibrate lack. When you dwell in fear, you vibrate delay. When you dwell in doubt, you vibrate restriction. These vibrations cannot unlock spiritual wealth, they repel it. But the moment you shift your inner frequency, the moment you choose gratitude over anxiety, certainty over hesitation, faith over fear, streams of divine abundance begin flowing toward you with unstoppable force. Say aloud, I align with abundance. Abundance aligns with me. Do not underestimate the power of vibrational shifting. This is not sentiment. This is not positive thinking. This is divine law in motion. Your vibration is your magnetic field, and your magnetic field is your spiritual request form. You do not need to chase what you are aligned with. It comes to you by law. You do not need to force open doors. When your vibration rises, doors open in recognition. You do not need to beg heaven to supply you. Heaven has already supplied everything. You simply rise to meet it. Your vibration is your access point. It is the password to the invisible vault of spiritual substance. When your frequency matches abundance, abundance must appear. When your frequency matches opportunity, opportunity must reveal itself. When your frequency matches miracles, miracles must manifest. Divine law does not negotiate. It aligns, reflects, and returns your inner state in perfect precision. Say aloud, I vibrate at the level of my destiny. Every time you choose faith, your frequency rises. Every time you refuse fear, your wealth multiplies in the unseen. Every time you hold gratitude, your spiritual bank account expands. Every time you speak truth, you tune your life to miracles. You are not waiting for the universe. The universe is waiting for your vibration to match what you have already asked for. You cannot walk in divine abundance while vibrating at the level of old wounds. You cannot claim prosperity while vibrating at the level of survival. You cannot receive spiritual wealth while vibrating at the frequency of self-doubt. Release the old emotional scripts. Release the narratives that keep you small. Release every heavy vibration that contradicts your divine identity. Speak with power. Anything below abundance dissolves from my field now. As you ascend vibrationally, everything around you must rise to meet you. People shift, circumstances transform, opportunities appear from directions you never considered. Doors open without effort, supply flows without struggle, favor increases without explanation. For vibrational alignment is not passive, it is magnetic command. The universe cannot resist the soul that resonates with truth. Say aloud with unshakable authority, I am aligned with the frequency of wealth, and wealth rushes toward me. Let these words reorder your atmosphere. Let them anchor a new rhythm in your spirit. Let them strip away every low vibration that ever argued against your greatness. For once you rise into the frequency of abundance, once you hold the vibration of your divine inheritance, once you sustain the inner resonance of supply, the vault of spiritual wealth bursts open, and nothing can stop what flows from the realm of the infinite into the world of form. For vibrational alignment unlocks spiritual wealth, and you are now aligned, attuned, and awakened to receive without limit. Divine timing accelerates what belief activates, and this truth must strike your spirit like the sound of a celestial decree. Nothing in your life is late. Nothing in your life is stalled. Nothing in your life is denied. The moment you believe, heaven begins to move. The moment you align, the invisible begins to arrange. The moment you release doubt, divine order starts building bridges, opening pathways, and orchestrating outcomes that human effort could never manufacture. Say aloud with prophetic certainty, my belief activates, and divine timing accelerates. You must understand this with the clarity of revelation. Belief is the ignition, but timing is the divine wind that carries your manifestation into perfect form. You may think delay is resistance, but heaven calls it precision. You may think slowness is punishment, but divine law calls it protection. You may think obstacles are setbacks, but the infinite calls them realignments, holy adjustments that ensure what reaches you arrives in perfect order, with nothing missing and nothing broken. The very moment your belief meets divine certainty, the process begins in the unseen. And when the alignment is exact, when the timing is ripe, when the spiritual atmosphere has reached full readiness, manifestation comes with a swiftness that feels miraculous. Say aloud, I trust divine timing, and divine timing accelerates my good. For the universe never hesitates, it never withholds, it never denies. It simply waits for belief to become stable enough to hold the blessing. Divine supply cannot pour into the shaky vessel of inconsistent faith. It waits for conviction, it waits for identity, it waits for energetic readiness. And the instant you reach vibrational alignment, heaven moves suddenly, powerfully, unmistakably. What once seemed distant begins to rush toward you with the force of spiritual momentum. Divine timing is not slow, it is strategic. The blessing you are preparing for is also preparing for you. The opportunity you seek is being positioned. The people assigned to your destiny are being aligned. The resources you require are being rearranged in your favor. Nothing is random, nothing is accidental. Every shift, every delay, every pause has been orchestrated to ensure that what belief activates arrives in your hands at the exact moment you can maximize it. Say aloud, nothing is late in my life. Everything arrives in perfect, accelerated order. There are seasons when heaven holds you still, not to punish you, but to fortify you. There are moments when doors stay closed, not to deny you, but to prevent misalignment. There are times when the path seems unclear, not because you are forgotten, but because divine timing is arranging something greater than your logic can comprehend. And when the orchestration is complete, when the spiritual mechanism has clicked into place, manifestation comes not by inches but by leaps. What belief initiated, divine timing delivers with speed. Do not confuse motion with progress. Do not confuse silence with inactivity. Do not confuse waiting with lack. Heaven moves in the unseen, long before anything shifts in the visible. You are closer than you realize. Your good is nearer than it appears. The moment your belief stabilizes, the moment your vibration rises, the moment your identity aligns, divine timing accelerates everything connected to your destiny. Say aloud with authority, "What I believe begins now, and divine timing brings it swiftly." Let this truth dissolve every fear of delay. Let it silence every whisper of doubt. Let it break every lie that tells you something has passed you by. Nothing meant for you can miss you. Nothing aligned with you can escape you. Nothing written for you can be taken from you. Belief activates the blueprint, but divine timing delivers the building. Walk boldly in this revelation. The moment you believe, the universe begins to accelerate. A release makes room for miraculous receipt, and this truth must descend upon your spirit like a divine awakening. You cannot receive with clenched fists. You cannot rise while gripping the ashes of what has already burned away. You cannot step into the unlimited while clutching the fragments of the familiar. Heaven cannot fill what you refuse to empty. Divine supply cannot flow where old energy occupies sacred space. Say aloud with unshakable authority, "I release," and miracles rush toward me. You must understand this as spiritual law, not suggestion. Release is not loss, it is alignment. Release is not deprivation, it is preparation. Release is not something taken from you, it is something clearing the path for you. Everything you cling to out of fear becomes a barrier between you and your good. Everything you hold on to from the past becomes a gate locked by your own hands. The universe waits for one holy act, your willingness to let go of what no longer serves your destiny. The moment you release, the moment you drop the weight, the moment you surrender the old script, divine order begins rearranging your world at lightning speed. Say aloud, "I let go of the old, and the new finds me without delay." For the infinite cannot pour abundance into the vessel of yesterday. You cannot carry resentment and expect revelation. You cannot grip outdated identities and expect expansion. You cannot hold fear in one hand and blessings in the other. Release is spiritual housekeeping. It is clearing the inner temple so the divine can enter unhindered. When you release, you activate a higher law. The law that ensures empty space is filled, open hands receive, and surrendered hearts are rewarded with overflowing supply. Some things are removed not because they were failures, but because they were too small for the magnitude of what is coming. Some relationships end not because they lacked meaning, but because they lack the capacity to journey with your next level. Some opportunities vanish not as punishment, but as protection, shielding you from paths that would shrink your spirit. When something leaves your life under divine order, it is making room for something far greater than your present vision can perceive. Say aloud, "I trust the clearing, for the clearing prepares my blessing." There are seasons when heaven initiates release on your behalf. A door closes sharply, a connection dissolves, a plan collapses, and in that moment you are tempted to cling, to resist, to fight the rearrangement. But divine law removes only what you have outgrown. It detaches only what cannot accompany your expansion. It uproots only what hinders your inheritance. The spiritual realm will not allow you to stay attached to anything that lowers your vibration, diminishes your identity, or restricts your supply. Release is not weakness, it is spiritual authority. It is the declaration that you trust the infinite more than your memories. It is the bold knowing that letting go does not reduce your life. It enlarges it. And once you release, you shift your vibrational field instantly. Suddenly, the channels open. Suddenly, the flow accelerates. Suddenly, the blessings that were circling your atmosphere find an entry point. Say aloud with prophetic certainty, "My release authorizes my miracles." Every time you let go of fear, faith expands. Every time you release doubt, manifestation accelerates. Every time you surrender the old identity, the new abundance arrives. Your life is not cluttered by circumstances, it is cluttered by attachments. And heaven cannot deliver what your hands are too full to receive. Let go of the version of yourself that struggled. Let go of the story that kept you small. Let go of the belief that supply is limited. Let go of the emotional weight that drains your spirit. Say aloud, I release freely, boldly, completely. For release is the spiritual key that unlocks miraculous receipt. Once you surrender what no longer belongs, the universe rushes in to fill the space with provision pressed down, shaken together and running over. You do not lose when you release, you rise. You do not diminish, you expand. You do not fall behind, you accelerate. Release makes room, and what enters that room is nothing less than the miraculous.